And so, as we step into today's service, we just activate that conscious connection to the one power in the universe, which we call spirit. We just take this moment to set the intention for today's service, blessing all that is about to transpire. We bless those who have shown up today in service, whether it be greeting or the beautiful music department, the people next door for our kids. We bless all those who have already made it into our center today, and all those who are on their way, and those who are joining us online. We were just soaked in absolute blessings this morning. So please help me anchor this by saying, and so it is. All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning.
I know the choir ate their Wheaties this morning, so. So I'm very excited. So our candle lighter today, for the first time, please welcome Natalie. Yeah. And as you all know, we're an interfaith gathering, a spiritual community that honors all teachings and all spiritual teachers. So we begin the ceremony that celebrates this oneness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths come from the one universal presence, which we call spirit. And so let us begin. The Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. Shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of pristine spirituality. Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. Of course, our favorite, New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. Now, our last candle is the healing candle of love, and we invite you in the stillness of your own mind to bring to awareness the names of anyone that you wish to be included in this healing flame of love and light. And now that our flames of faith are fully lighted, we move forward into our celebration, realizing and reaffirming that all paths lead to God. Thank you, Natalie. Woo-hoo. So our quote for today, written by Ernest Holmes. I cleanse the windows of my mind that it may become a mirror, reflecting inspiration from the Most High. I do this not with strenuous effort, but through quiet contemplation, through gently reaching and affirming an inward recognition. I know exactly what to do in every situation. There is an inspiration within me which governs every act, every thought, with certainty, with conviction, and in peace. Oh, once again, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Is everybody having to do Christmas parties and all of that? Yes. Yeah, I've been like to 3 of them this week. It's crazy. So I want to talk about prayer for a second because we're really big on prayer. Yes? Yes, we all know that. And I know we have a few new folks, but if you don't know, we are based on prayer. We believe in it, we practice it, it works, and it changes our lives. And I think almost everybody here can attest, can tell you a story of how prayer has shifted what they needed shifted. So there are several ways in which, as a part of this community, whether you're online or whether you're here in person, can get prayer support right away today. So after the service, you can get a 1-minute miracle, or what does Kaleem call it now? 1 moment miracle? Yeah, Don and I do 1-minute miracles. Kaleem does a moment of a miracle.
Very long moments.
But that's why we have so many different practitioners here. You can find one that fits every flavor. And I'm going to ask them to stand up real quick. We've got the Flemings over here. We've got Karen. We've got Bob in the back. Judy. We've got Cynthia George. We've got Robert who just walked in. So, and myself. There's a lot of people just anxiously awaiting to pray with you today. So please take advantage of us. If you have to run to a Christmas party, there's a sheet in the back of the pocket, and it's green or blue or whatever color. Fill that out and put it in our prayer box, which is at the back. And those prayers will be sent out, and we will pray on that all week long for you. Online. If you're online, what are you pointing at, Karen? Okay. Okay. If you're online, of course, what often happens is that when we need prayer is not a convenient time. But you know what? Our website is always there. And you can always, no matter what time it is, no matter where you are in the world, you can go to that website and insert a prayer. And as soon as you hit the send button, it is activated. So it's always a nice thing to keep in your back pocket. All right, so prayer. As I said, we have a couple of new people here today. If you're so brave to hold up your hand, we actually have a gift for you. Thank you. And then if you're not so brave, thank you. Welcome, you guys. Those packets are also available after service. So, okay. Announcements. Are you ready for this? There's a lot going on. Does everybody feel like there's a lot going on in life right now? Well, we're going to add to that. So, Wednesday, December 18th, this is Zoom. Come and join Tony Shannon. 7 o'clock, she's going to do visioning. If you don't know what visioning is, it's the perfect time to find out what visioning is. You do not need to know what it is, and you don't have to have experience. 7 o'clock, it's on Zoom from the comfort of your own home. So please join Shannon. Now, this is where it's going to get tricky. You ready? Saturday, December 21st, which is? It's also centering prayer that morning, which is on Zoom. So again, from the comfort of your own home, you can join Kaleem and Bob in the Oneness Prayer Meditation, and all that information is right there. Then, the 21st, I think in our center, we're more excited about celebrating solstice than perhaps Christmas. It's an amazing evening of, music and poetry and just connection to release and bringing in what you want to have surrounding you in the new year. So the doors are going to open at 6:15, and this is Saturday. So Saturday night, 6:15. come join us. It's going to be a blast. We've reworked it a lot this year, so give yourself this gift of just releasing and stepping in to the new year on solstice. It's such a gift to just kind of breathe deep, let it go, and then say, come on, let's go. Brand new year. What's going to happen? Let's do this. Doors, as I said, doors open at 6:15. It's an hour-long ceremony. So please come join us. It's going to be a remarkable evening. Now, the next morning, which is Sunday. So for those of us who have not made it to a centering prayer, we're actually going to do one that Sunday morning. So that morning you can experience live and in person centering prayer. I think Kaleem and Bob will be leading that, yes? Awesome. So that's Saturday, Sunday, and then Christmas Eve is on a Tuesday? Oh, my goodness. So you're doing centering prayer and solstice on Saturday. You're coming on Sunday. And then Tuesday, we're doing our huge extravaganza led by Aaron. Woo! I got to tell you, if you've been one to our past Christmas Eve services, this is not anything like any of those. So, again, give yourself the gift of coming and being uplifted and singing songs and being silly and just rejoicing in Christmas Eve. So I think, we, for those of you who are familiar with vision boards, we're going to be doing those, I think, the first week in January, somewhere in there. So our to doing that is if anybody has magazines that they want to donate, please just bring them up front. We'll have boxes out there, but please bring your old magazines that you don't want anymore for that project. Okay, now let's see. Today is an extraordinary day. It's the first time that I actually get to be the prac of the day for my beloved Karen. She's always my prac of the day, but I get to be hers today. So I'm so excited because I get to do the introduction of this absolutely beautiful and amazing woman. Now, I don't love her because she bounded up to me about 8 years ago and said, I like you because you've got energy. It's like, we're going to be best friends. She has been a practitioner now 10, 12 years. So she definitely has got her feet wet. The depth of her spirituality is just phenomenal to me. She's like the first person to kind of remind us to go into prayer. She's also one of the first practitioners I know to reach out for prayer no matter what's going on. She's got, believe it or not, she's got 7 grandchildren. Grand loves. I don't know when you slipped all that in, but she is a teacher within the school district, and her title is Behavioral and Instructional Coach. I have no idea what that means, but I'm pretty sure I would have been sent to her room. Yeah. So today we have such a treat in the message that Karen is going to deliver for us. But that will happen after the most amazing music from, we have a special music by Jessica today.
The stars are brightly shining. It is the night of the dear Savior's birth. Christ was born. Oh, night divine, oh, night divine. Truly he taught us to love one another. His love is law, and his gospel is peace. Chains shall he break, for the slave is our brother, and in his name all oppression shall cease. Sweet hymns of joy in grateful chorus raise we, let all within us praise his holy name. Fall to your knees, oh, hear the angel voices, oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born. Oh, night divine, oh, night divine.
Sorry for those who are online. I had to get a quick hug from Jessica to like release that emotion. That song takes on a total different meaning as I was listening to it, being from as a part of the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living, because the Christ divine is within. So the night that Christ was born, when I realized that Christ was within me, was the time that it was born. And it reflects that, I think, as I'm giving this talk. Well, Erin, thanks for the music. The music always like goes right with the talk. And then Linda, so I felt like this is just a plus that you're getting, because it's already really been spoken in. As soon as it was downloading, everything just like falls into place. Okay. As I was tuning into Spirit and listening, I realized why this time of year has become my favorite. It didn't used to be my favorite. As Linda was talking, as a teacher, when Halloween starts happening and all the other holidays happen, you know what happens in campuses across the nation, especially with little kids in elementary school? What do you think happens? Excitement, busyness, craziness. Teachers pray and hope that Halloween doesn't fall during the week of school, that it happens on the weekend, and that maybe it would happen, or maybe on a Friday, because then by Saturday and Sunday, maybe the sugar has like recalibrated in the body, so that, and so, and then also, you know, there's a lot of activity just in all of us. As life becomes increasingly louder, as the time of consumer culture rises, because that's right, all of that time, it's like buy more, get more, gifts, 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 gifts. And so, but what's happening during this time of year is the total opposite, right? Think about that. It's a special time that we call home, and especially being regrown up in Alaska. I grew up in Vermont, in New England, and so I still had the 4 seasons. Winter didn't last quite as long as it lasts here. instead of breakup season, we had mud season. But still, like, there's still 4 seasons, even when there's places that are really hot. It just looks a little different, right? And so the darkness starts to settle in as the days get shorter. And like bears, our bodies kind of want to hibernate. They want to slow down. They want to do less. So prior to the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living, I fell more into the category of the hustle and bustle. I was a single mom for a lot of years, and sometimes I was working more than one job. Sometimes I was working more than 2 jobs to make ends meet, and so the stress was real. And then I found the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living, and there's a lot of gifts that this center has given me. And I always loved the solstice. I would celebrate it with a friend, Joanna, and we would have a bonfire or something like that and slow down. But when I came here, that ritual of the winter solstice really took on a different meaning for me. And I started, when I was teaching within the classroom, I started bringing that ritual to the classroom with my kids. And so as the solstice approached, like the last day, because usually, most of the time, winter break has already started when the solstice happens, or it's close. I would get the music teacher to give us sticks and tambourines, and we would go outside and play music, like you can hear with my bracelets, music celebrating the joyous return of the light. And, honoring the darkness, because the darkness gives us a lot of things too. Time to reflect and do some shadow work. So, is a powerful time of transition and rebirth. It's like the stillness between the out-breath and the in-breath. Right? There's an out-breath, and then there's that next in-breath that's starting to come in. It's like that. It's this time of year that invites us for these 4 R's that I'm going to talk about. Rest, reflect, resolve, and reimagine. It's like the dormant seed lying beneath the earth that is covered in snow, at least most years in Alaska. The seed awaits the right conditions to sprout and become what it is meant to be. It's like our teaching symbol, right? The seed, the soil, which becomes the plant. It's everything that we believe in. So I'm going to start with the resting. The root word of resting is restore, put out, or repose, to cause to rest. Free from worry. How many people worry? It's like a tree in the winter that is dormant, yet did you know that even though the tree is dormant, it gets rid of its leaves so that the roots can continue to grow? That's why it needs to shed. It doesn't have as much energy. It doesn't have as much of the sun, and there's coldness there. So it needs to shed what's not serving it in that moment so that it continue to grow. The tree slows down and recuperates, yet it's still growing. We ask ourselves, are we meeting our basic human needs of sleep, good food, exercise? I'm sure that there are a lot of other things. Ceasing to worry. I ask myself, I'm learning to pay attention to my body, to my feelings, to my soul, as it helps me gain insight. What is my body, my physical body, asking me to do? What is my emotional body telling me? If I'm crying a lot, my emotional body is telling me something. What is my spiritual body telling me? That's that tapping that keeps happening, right? And you're like, go away. Keeps happening. It's the inner voice. It's the inner voice of your soul. Pay attention to our gut feelings. As hunters and gatherers, our survival depended on our instincts. When we ignore our intuition, we normally land in an uncomfortable place. Makes me think of that book with Dr. Seuss, Oh, the Places You'll Go. How many people know that book? Yeah, Oh, the Places You'll Go. And it talks about all the kind of like the rickrack, all those like made up names that Dr. Seuss is so wonderful at. And it's like, there's like trenches and everything, right? So we're paying attention to that because it can bring us to this brilliant, wonderful place. 99.75% guaranteed. That's the end of the book. So it can be a place of pain. It can be a place of unsettledness, restlessness. It's telling us something. And it can be our job. I don't want to tell you that it is your job because it's only if you choose. You're always at choice. So if you choose, it can be a place of great reflection. And meditation can help us that. So the root word of meditation or reflecting is meditatum, to ponder. It continues directly from the resting, right? We rest, we settle in. It allows us, when we get our basic needs met, then we can truly reflect. We reflect on the language patterns we say to ourselves or to others. What verbs and adjectives do you hear yourself saying? Are they lack and limitations? Is it doubt? Is it fear-based? Meditation helps us weed our garden. It helps us pluck out the stuff that we don't need so that we can have some rich soil in there, maybe with a little bit of crushed up eggshells that helps them grow. What do we need to pull out for the seed to blossom? What do we need to provide as nourishment? Many doctors, you know, whether it's a doctor that's like a naturopath or science doctors now, many of them now know the secret that we've known from Science and Mind that Ernest Holmes taught us a long time ago. Meditation is really healthy for you. Do you know that there's a lot of benefits to meditation? For instance, it directly supports our health in positive ways, reducing stress and anxiety, improves focus and concentration, better sleep quality. How many people could use a little bit of that? Increased self-awareness, enhanced emotional regulation. That's why also I teach this to kids in school. They may only be able to do a minute at a time, but a minute at a time can help you self-regulate. Even breathing can help you self-regulate. Pain management, improved memory, increased compassion, and potentially lowering blood pressure. How many people are like racing to the doctor and you sit down and they want to take your blood pressure? How's that look? Right? So what I have been doing now, because each time it's one of the things that happens for me, I have consciously, as soon as I sit down in the chair before they bring it out, start breathing. Do you know that I don't usually have a problem with blood pressure anyway, but it can be that instead of my top number being 125, it's 110. Just by breathing. I can tell the difference because when I walk in and I have a lot on my mind and my energy is really charged and I sit down in the chair and I don't breathe, it's still good, but it's in the 120s. If I'm breathing, even 3 deep, intentional, conscious breaths, it's in the teens. It directly does affect. I believe that it directly affects. We also ask ourselves, what is the state of my house? We have this physical house, then we have the house that we live in. If you're like me, sometimes there can be laundry all over the place that needs to be folded or some things like that, right? So what are your finances looking like? What do your relationships look like? Figuring out or finding out where you want the reflections to go in your mind to really think about the life that you want to create. And this directly goes into affirmative prayer. It's the primer. For me, it's the primer. I will tell you that as I was doing this talk, I used the 4 R's in this order. For some practitioners or friends who have done the steps or gone to foundations, some people use visioning instead of meditation. I would say, though, that the rest and the reflecting for most people directly comes first. So moving into the affirmative prayer, the resolve, the intentions, as Linda was talking about that. The root word for that, for pray, is prakari. And this was interesting because this goes more like with the Christian philosophy, which I was first raised in, because it was to beg or ask earnestly. But then as I did a little bit more research and looked at another Latin word, it was associated with the indigato. Indigato. And indigato means to invoke. We use invoking within the 5 steps of our affirmative prayer. So it means taking ourselves out of the what is happening to me versus what is Spirit moving through me. We take ourselves out of the place of victim. It's definitely where I was when I came to the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. The life was happening to me. And I was in a state of turmoil. And I was heavy-hearted. And so when we can take ourselves out of that, wow, such empowerment. We take the what's the word that I want? Like a rub, right? There's like a constant rub, like a constant itch that can't stop, and it's really creating great pain in your life. And when you can see that you might not be able to change your outer circumstances, but we are 100% responsible for how we receive and experience them, that is like, I don't know for the rest of you, but for me, that was like so powerful. I think that is when Jessica was singing the song, that's what it brought me to. The fact that that's when I truly had Christ consciousness inside of me. And I realized how empowering that is, and how suddenly I felt so much more empowered than I ever had ever before in my whole entire life. Except for maybe when I was born and I didn't have all the human kind of weightiness that comes with that. Oosh, sorry, there's emotionalness coming out in that, and that's okay. It's a beautiful thing. Because it is not tears of sadness, it is tears of joy. Because for me, before I came here, for 8 years, I was feeling deep anger and frustration at what my life looked like. And then it changed. Slowly and surely, but it changed. And it was through the law of attraction. We can choose to see that there is really a law of radiation. It's the fire in the belly that we talk about when it's the power of prayer, right? It's like I was praying with someone last week, and they were talking to me, and I said something about, wow, there's never any accidents as to who sits down in front of you to pray, because there's something that's aligning in your life. And there was not a time to close my eyes or for that person to immediately, as I was talking, the prayer was coming out, and it just continued and flowed, and it was so natural because it was totally aligned with everything was lining up directly how it was meant to be, and I was just merely stating what was already so for that person. It was easy and effortless to be able to pray, and that is why I am willing to call on any person that's a practitioner. Actually, for any of you guys who have taken foundations, I would tap one of you if someone else wasn't available and say, please pray with me. Please know the truth for me. Because my human mind right now is absolutely in the way. So, because, we can determine what is possible in our own lives. Spirit is infinite. It is limitless. Can you say that with me? Limitless. There are no limits in spirit. The only limit with spirit, do you know what it is? Our own mind. Yep. We are the only limit to spirit. Spirit is limitless, which means that in our true form, we are limitless. So we have to get out of our own way. So how I do this when I'm stuck, when I can't get a hold of somebody, if I try like 3 people and can't get a hold of somebody, I feel like Spirit is telling me, Karen, this is your time to pray. So I just like breathe and stuff. And then what I do is I do something that Rev Rachel Hollander used to tell us to do in one of the class. I can't remember what class she taught me. I'm sorry, friends. But I do know that what she said was, sometimes you can't go immediately to what you want to see. You have to say what's happening in front of you. You don't claim it for what you want, but you acknowledge that that is what is happening. So in that realization, you could say something like, right here and right now, these feelings of fear are overwhelming. And I know that in that energy of fear, the opposite is love. And so I embrace love, knowing that fear dissipates as more love. I wore my self-love today so I could express it to all of you. I know that more love is expressing and abounding through every pore of my being and my body. So I did not negate that I was feeling what I was feeling, but as soon as I claimed what I wanted to, my mind went to what I wanted. Do you see how that works? Yeah? Tell me if you don't, because I'm here to let you know and help you out if you don't. And it's okay if you don't feel what I'm saying. I'll express it in another way so you can hear it differently, because not all of us hear things in the exact same way. That's what happens with kids, and we are our inner kid inside of us. So if you need to hear something in a different way, you just let one of us know, because we express things in a different way. And I'm sure that a practitioner or someone that's also a practitioner in this room who hasn't studied to be a practitioner can help you find that way. And then what happens is I'm able to, through setting those attentions, I do something that Kaleem shared with us that is actually online and that you can tap in and tune into at any moment that you choose to. He gave us the gift of putting visioning online. And so when he did the visioning here that Sunday, that was you, right, Bob, that you recorded that. I thought that I saw that recording. It's recorded. And so for me, when I get all my other stuff out of the way, then I vision. For other people, they vision before that. I vision like that because otherwise when you ask that question, what do you need to release for this to, there's a laundry list of things that I need to release before I can see my vision. So I do all the pre-work to help me so that I can see my vision more clearly. That's what works for me. You have to figure out what works for you. And the only way that you can figure out what works for you is to practice. Right? It's a practice. And it's memory work. And so we fall off from practicing sometimes. And so you have to get into a rhythm of it. And then sometimes life will happen and you get off the rhythm. And then you got to get back into the rhythm. So you got to figure out your flow of what works for you. But the root word for vision is visio, to see. What is the seed of possibility inside of you that you wish to plant, to nurture, and grow in this time of rebirth. That's what Linda was talking about. This time of reflection, right? This time of the darkness. And then the 21st, 22nd, whatever day it is for each year happens, and we get to celebrate the return of the light. Yes. It's happened slowly, but it's still happening. Might only be 2 or 3 minutes, but it's still the light that's coming. We nurture the seeds of possibilities within us to contemplate the new births, the desires, the dreams, the intentions that are gestating in the deep, rich, dark soil, ready to take root and manifest. They just need us to help. So pausing in the deep silence invites us to listen closely to the whispers of our inner landscape, to the quiet stirrings of our dreams, and the subtle guidance. So I'm going to go back to that reading that Linda first did, and let's see if you hear it in a different kind of way. Because a lot of times when we hear something, the first time we hear it one way, just like Jessica singing "O Holy Night," I heard it in a totally different way today. And then I have one more reading by Ernest Holmes too. I cleanse the windows of my mind, that it may become a mirror, reflecting inspiration from the Most High. I do this not with strenuous effort, but through quiet contemplation and affirming an inward recognition. I know exactly what to do in every situation. There is an inspiration within me which governs every act, every thought, with certainty, with conviction, and in peace. And then another one of Ernest Holmes' readings that I know Rev Dawn personally loves too, and it's one of my favorites. I am guided by the same intelligence and inspired by the same imagination which scatters the moonbeams across the waves and holds the forces of nature in its grasp. And so, life is evolving as God itself, and form as me. All that it unfolds is simply spirit in form, ready to burst forth as a new version of me. This song, Float, that Rev Rachel wrote, is something that always comes up for me. And I believe, if I remember correctly, Kaleem used it. I can't remember if you used it when we were visioning or if it was a precursor before Bob started taping, but when you hear it, you know the song I'm talking about, right? So it goes, as I let go, I make more room for God. I make more room for the God within me. Now, God could be good. God could be faith. God could be love, could be joy. And then it goes, I am expanding. I am expanding. I make more room for the God within me. What are you making more room for, friends? And so it is. It felt like a whole prayer. All right. Take a deep breath with me. And as I move into that expansion as me, for me, through me, I know that for each person in this room and each person online and each person who chooses to watch later, and actually, I know this prayer for the whole world in its entirety. I breathe and I know that love, joy, faith, peace, those 4 hours of resting and reflecting, they're all happening within us, quietly or loudly. Is it tapping you? Is it asking you to do more? Right here and right now, as I speak these words of truth, I know that it is all good, all light, all love. And as we embrace the darkness offers those beautiful glimmers of our life and what it is that we are asking for. We move into that light, setting those intentions, knowing that those intentions bring us great joy. They are expanding, and it makes more room for all good. And I give thanks knowing this truth of love, this truth of light. And as I give thanks, I release, knowing that it is absolutely so. Please join me in affirming. And so it is.
So now we come to that portion of the program where we get to give back into this system that allows us to have the lights on Sunday and creates this space of prayer. So just, God, if you guys are even that much grateful for this center as I am, take your contributions and place them on your heart and repeat. Broncos. Or affirmation. See, this is what happens when your sound team are Bronco fans and they just want the service to end so they can get to Peanut Farm and watch the game. Okay. All right, ready? Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is. So in closing, now I have permission to share this. So Dana is going to have some surgery this coming week. And so she would love to be soaked in, surrounded in prayer from all of us, because we just know that the perfect outcome has already happened. So love, love, love. So in closing, thank you, Karen. What a delightful talk. Yeah. So let us rest, reflect, resolve, and reimagine. First, we rest by settling in and pondering. And then you can reflect on the state of your mental and physical house. Reflect on the life that you want to create. And now you move in to resolve what Spirit has moving through you. Receive and experience the life that is around you. And as you reimagine, what exactly are you expanding into? Let us rest in spirit. Please help me anchor this by saying, and so it is.